for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. Discover matrilineal memory by Hopi artist Michaela Schaefer, now in view at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This evocative exhibition features paintings, poetry, and installations that explore memory and cultural preservation. Don't miss the Artist Talk with Michaela Schaefer on Saturday, November 15th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. at the gallery. Matrilineal Memory is open through December 13th. Experience art that transforms memory into connections and healing. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
We've all seen the effects of wood smoke pollution this year, so before hosting that backyard bonfire, follow these simple tips to protect yourself, others, and the environment. Remember to give your neighbors a heads up before building a fire so those who find wood smoke bothersome can close their windows. Make sure to never burn wet or recently cut wood, other yard waste, plastic, or garbage. These things can be toxic when burned and create excess smoke. For more tips on how to burn responsibly, visit epa.gov/burnwise.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
November is Native American Heritage Month, a time to honor Indigenous history, art, and identity. At the Minneapolis Institute of Art, celebrate the contributions of Indigenous peoples across the Americas with programs and exhibitions that center around cultural resilience and deepen understanding through creative expression. MIA's month-long celebration includes free activities for the family, art making for adults, and a special showing of Smoke Signals, a story of friendship and healing. Celebrate, learn, and connect at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Find full details and ways to participate at artsmia.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 48, then Saturday, clearing skies with a high of 53. Time is running out for your chance to see Children's Theater Company's production of Roald Dahl's Mischievous Tale, The Enormous Crocodile. The show only runs through November 23rd, and tickets are going fast. Get your tickets today at childrenstheater.org.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, victors.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, I just want to wish everybody a happy Native American Heritage Month here on Turtle Island. We really appreciate everybody listening. It was really exciting yesterday to have our friend State Representative Heather Keeler come on and talk about her run for Congress. We really want to give her a big shout out and support. Heather is an enrolled member of Yankton Sioux Tribe. And she's running for the U.S. House in Congress, Minnesota's 7th District. And it'll be very interesting. This is a person that we really want to get in there. So everyone, reach out and help any way you can. Really excited about this. Also, a big thing, too, you guys probably might or might not remember, I was a Ho-Chunk legislator for 4 years and also had colleagues, 12 other colleagues that were legislators, and of course we have a president, and we have a general counsel, and we have the judicial branches of our government. And I want to give a big shout out to Rodney Rave, and we're going to have Rodney Rave on real soon. He just announced his candidacy in Wisconsin. And Rodney, I'll just give you a quick bio of Rodney. Rodney Rave is Bear Clan member of the Ho Chunk Nation and a former legislator within the tribe, and has launched a campaign for U.S. Congress in the 3rd District of Wisconsin. And Rodney is a great guy, and he emphasizes his background as a union operating engineer for 31 years of heavy highway construction, and frames his campaign as, "I am not a career politician, I'm a builder." And big, huge shout out to Rodney, really stepping up. And he, as a legislator, and he'll talk more about this, but as a legislator, he saw how the federal government and the government, and especially in Wisconsin, there's no native, there's 11 tribes in Wisconsin, and there's no natives in government. And so Rodney stepping up is a big deal, a really, really, really big deal. I want to also give our friend Ruth Ann Buffalo a big shout out. It's a housing milestone in Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, MIWRC, opened its 24-unit permanent supportive housing yesterday in the grand opening. And, Ruth was quoted as saying, "Every individual and family deserves the dignity of a safe home, safe, stable housing," and gives people the foundation to give with hope and responsibility. Just a really big shout out to Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, who's been doing it up for over 40 years. And we have Ruth on pretty often. So really, really a huge shout out to Ruth. One of the things that we're really blessed here at Native Roots Radio for the past 4 or 5 years, we've had updates from a lot of politicians all over Turtle Island, but consistently from our friend Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin. Why don't we take a quick listen for Governor Evers' weekly update? Let's take a listen.
Hey there, Native Roots Radio. Governor Tony Evers here with my weekly update. Folks, empty cupboards and stomachs are not abstract outcomes. They are the very real consequences of the dysfunction in Washington, D.C. The Trump administration has had repeated opportunities to do the right thing and make sure families didn't go hungry during Republicans' reckless federal government shutdown, but they've refused. Thankfully, the courts ordered the Trump administration to stop messing around and use available federal resources so millions of folks across the country could have food to eat. Here in Wisconsin, we followed that court order and worked quickly to get payments out to 700,000 Wisconsinites who rely on food share, including about 270,000 kids. Now, President Trump wants his money back. He's making a last-ditch effort to yank food out of the hands of nearly 700,000 Wisconsinites, and that includes 270,000 hungry kids. It is pathetic. And frankly, it's embarrassing. It's shameful to try to take away food from kids, families, and seniors, period. It's especially foolish for the Trump administration to try to do so when they know they have an obligation to fund this program and at the level the court ordered them to. We cannot and will not sit around and wait for the Trump administration to come take away food from our hungry kids, families, seniors in this state. And let me be clear, if the Trump administration continues to try to mess with kids, families, and seniors across our state who need access to basic food and groceries, I promise you this, we'll fight against it with every tool and every power we have. Here in Wisconsin, we care about each other and we take care of our neighbors. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Back to you, Robert, and Native Roots Radio.
Well, thank you, Governor Evers, for that uplifting and kind of in-your-face, fight-back response to what's going on federally. That was sent to us a day ago, and there's a lot happening. And again, I always like to say Let's open up the Epstein files and get this going and get this over with. You see what party's for the people and what's for rich people, and also, to protect their king. I want to just end this segment. And I just got to tell everyone too that later in the show we're going to have State Senator Mary Kunesh on. As always, what a great interview that she is, and we really appreciate her here at Native Roots Radio. Hey, I just want to repeat what I started the show up. As we honor Native American Heritage Month, we spotlight Native leadership and the progress of Indian country. In Minnesota, Representative Heather Keeler continues to lift up Native voices at the Capitol, and in Wisconsin, Ho-Chunk Nation citizen Rodney Rave has launched his bid for Congress, bringing union labor, rural, and tribal experience into the race. And here in the Twin Cities, the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center has opened a 24-unit culturally centered supportive housing community. And it's a powerful step to help our unhoused relatives, which we pray for every day. Again, we got State Representative State Senator Mary Kunesh on, and I want to give a big shout out to Heather and coming on the show and saying those good words about Native Roots Radio and the support that this show has given her over the years. And I also want to give a quick shout out to AM 950 and also Civic Media and all the other stations that were on Native Roots Radio. We really appreciate your support, and I want to just tell everyone that to support our sponsors. Reach out to them, tell them you've heard, you've listened to Native Roots Radio, and also, we have places for you to support us too. So, please reach out to us and support Native Roots Radio. Yes, again, thank you so much, Big Peeny Gigi, for people supporting us all over these past 9 years, and we'll make another 9 years. A lot going on, and we need to uplift our Native relatives and our allies as we progress here close to another election in another 11 months. We'll be ready here at Native Roots Radio. Hey, again, up next, we have State Senator Mary Kunesh. This is Native Roots Radio.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
Discover Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer, now in view at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This evocative exhibition features paintings, poetry, and installations that explore memory and cultural preservation. Don't miss Artist Talk with Michaela Schaefer on Saturday, November 15th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. at the gallery. Matrilineal Memory is open through December 13th. Experience art that transforms memory into connections and healing. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
November is Native American Heritage Month, a time to honor Indigenous history, art, and identity. At the Minneapolis Institute of Art, celebrate the contributions of Indigenous peoples across the Americas with programs and exhibitions that center around cultural resilience and deepen understanding through creative expression. MIA's month-long celebration includes free activities for the family, art making for adults, and a special showing of Smoke Signals, a story of friendship and healing. Celebrate, learn, and connect at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Find full details and ways to participate at artsmia.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are with our friend, State Senator Mary Kunesh. Long time no talk. State Senator, great to see you as always. A lot going on, and I know you're busier than heck, and a lot going on nationally and here in Minnesota too. So let's get on with it. Good to see you.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for bringing me back on.
Yeah. Well, you're one of the regulars, from way back when we were a 2-hour show, and even before that, as a matter of fact. And
well, I remember, early on when I was elected into the Minnesota House, I think my first session was 2017, and you started showing up all over the Capitol with your recorder, and you were there for tons of rallies, and it was kind of like all of a sudden you were there, and you invited me to join you a couple times, and that kind of
talk real. I stalked you out at powwows and with your family, and you can tell the truth here.
And here we are together again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
we've had some really good discussions over the years. That's for sure. Especially during COVID, when we would just go on, and you had people from all over the place, all over the country joining us in conversation. And it was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I think we're due to do that again. And that was a Sunday night symposium. And we had people from all over Turtle Island just letting us know what they were doing. I mean, that was before anybody really knew a lot about COVID. People were taking their clothes off and burning them, and from coming outside, they just didn't know. We had the first Navajo doctor, a woman doctor on. We just had all these people that were really doing the work and letting us know what was happening, and that was before there was any vaccine.
It would be so fascinating to go back and say, and bring those folks back on and say, that was then, this is now. What's different? How are you dealing with, today's issues?
Yeah, I think we, I'm going to make a note of that. I think we should do that again, and especially with what's happening politically. But hey, I want to we got a lot to talk about, but I want to just talk a little bit about. We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. You've been traveling and with your job, and your part-time job that's really a full-time job, and and we had a Blue Tsunami Tuesday. And it was amazing.
It was absolutely amazing, and I think we all were holding our breath with hope and anticipation, and I think the turnout really turned out the way that we wanted in a lot of different ways. There were a number of important elections that needed to be done. When we look at Virginia and New Jersey, we have 2 women who are now their governors that, they hadn't had women governors before. They flipped, those seats to Democrat, which was pretty, miraculous. In Mississippi, we were able to flip seats to Democrats, and that in Mississippi, that ended the GOP Republican-held supermajority. That's huge. And then, of course, California, they had that ballot measure to create 5 additional seats for the party's House, margin, so that to offset Texas's redistricting push. So I was glad to see that and hear about that. And then, of course, the real excitement was Zoran Mamdani's election to mayor of the White House.
Soon enough.
Oops.
Yeah.
Mayor of New York, which just totally went against the norm in New York, of electing wealthy white men to be their mayor. And so that was really exciting. That was an incredible campaign that they put together. I thought, even now after that election, and he's got all these little videos and clips about how he's building a really strong cabinet. And I think I read an article where he had like this powerhouse of strong women of color who were advising him on how to put this all together. And so I think it's going to be fascinating watching what happens out there.
Yeah, 34 years old. It's amazing. Hey, one of the things I too want to mention locally in St. Paul, we elected our first Hmong mayor and first woman mayor.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Kali, her really came up quickly. I mean, I don't think she began her campaign until August.
Right.
And, put together, a really constituent-based campaign. I was really fortunate to work with her in the Minnesota House for 2 years. She was elected there when I was still in the House. And she really does have her pulse on the people. Not that, the governor doesn't, or the mayor doesn't now, but her perspective, of course, is a little bit different. I think we have one of the largest Hmong populations in St. Paul. And she's brilliant. She's witty. She's fun. She is really quick when it comes to understanding what the issues are and can really wrap her head around the issues quickly and respond to them. And so I think we'll see another really fascinating team being put together in St. Paul. I heard a lot from a lot of people who said they agreed with everything that she was talking about, all of the issues she was bringing up, downtown St. Paul, the Midway area, other areas and issues in St. Paul. And remember, she worked for the mayor for a while, so she has a pretty good understanding of what the job is all about. And so I think a lot of people were surprised that she actually won. But I think maybe it was time for a little bit of a change.
Yeah, and it's amazing too, not to get too deep here locally in St. Paul, but now we have an all-woman city council and now a woman mayor. That's who would have thunk? That's amazing and a long time coming.
Yeah, it's so absolutely fascinating the way this has all sort of evolved in St. Paul. Of course, Omar Fateh did not win the mayoral seat in Minneapolis. That was a really hard-fought election as well, and so Minneapolis will have Jacob Fry again. But let's hope that expanded his views and his goals going forward as well. There have been times where I learned a really hard lesson by losing or by being challenged. And so I just hope that everyone that's doing the work that's going on is learning from these really, really tough elections. We will be swearing in our new Senate members on Tuesday. Wow. We had a special election, and Amanda Hemmingson Yeager will be our new joining our Democrat caucus, and then the GOP have another member that is going to replace Senator Johnson, who passed away over the summer unexpectedly. So it's going to be a new interesting session coming up in February, but in 26 or this next year, 26, all of us are up for election again.
Wow.
From the governor all the way down to the legislators, including the Attorney General and the Auditor and Secretary of State. Everybody's up again. And, we're hoping to be able to take back a strong majority. We Dems, when I say we, I mean the DFL, Democrat Farmer Labor Union Caucus, the Dems, so that we have the ability to continue to do the really good work that we've done in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. So just to let everyone know, the Minnesota Senate still is one seat Democrat advantage, and then the legislature's even.
Yep, the House is still even, Stephen, but we carry that one-person majority in the Senate.
And the governor's Democrat.
And the governor is a Dem, so yep.
Yeah. Well, geez, that's interesting, but also really interesting. In the next 11 months, we really have to make things happen statewide here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. A good friend of mine is running for Congress, former Ho-Chunk legislator in Wisconsin, and Rodney Rave, and really excited to support him too.
I was at I was at an event not long ago, and I met your Ho-Chunk president.
Oh yeah, John Greendeer, who's been on the show many times. What a powerhouse, huh?
Yeah, that was the first time I'd met him in person, so that was really kind of cool.
Yeah. Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and this is Native Roots Radio. We're going to take a quick break and come right back. This again is Native Roots Radio. Ho-wah.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans, plus get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
We've all seen the effects of wood smoke pollution this year, so before hosting that backyard bonfire, follow these simple tips to protect yourself, others, and the environment. Remember to give your neighbors a heads up before building a fire so those who find wood smoke bothersome can close their windows. Make sure to never burn wet or recently cut wood, other yard waste, plastic, or garbage. These things can be toxic when burned and create excess smoke. For more tips on how to burn responsibly, visit epa.gov/burnwise.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota private colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
November is Native American Heritage Month, a time to honor Indigenous history, art, and identity. At the Minneapolis Institute of Art, celebrate the contributions of Indigenous peoples across the Americas with programs and exhibitions that center around cultural resilience and deepen understanding through creative expression. MIA's month-long celebration includes free activities for the family, art making for adults, and a special showing of Smoke Signals, a story of friendship and healing. Celebrate, learn, and connect at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Find full details and ways to participate at artsmia.org.
This holiday season, give gifts that matter and celebrate Native American Heritage Month. You can do just that at CauseCart, the online marketplace where every purchase makes a difference. CauseCart is proud to feature an incredible collection from Native American artists and makers. You can find unique, handcrafted jewelry, stunning art, and beautiful clothing. These items make wonderful, meaningful gifts for anyone on your list. You'll be gifting a one-of-a-kind handcrafted item that carries a powerful story of heritage and creativity. Instead of funding a giant corporation, your purchase supports local businesses and empowers their communities. Also, check out the Native Roots Radio Store right on the CauseCart site. Just visit cause-cart.com and type Native Roots Radio into the search bar to see the full assortment. This holiday season, make your spending a force for good. Support Native artists and shop with purpose. Visit cause-cart.com. That's cause-cart.com.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 48, then Saturday, clearing skies with a high of 53. Heat up these cold nights with the hottest musical acts around at Crooner's Supper Club. Crooner's is located just north of I-694 off Highway 65 and Moore Lake Drive. Visit croonersmn.com to view their schedules and food menus. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and here we are with our friend, State Senator Mary Kunesh from the great state of Minnesota. Thanks, Mary, for coming on, as always. Great to see you. And I know you've been doing a lot of traveling. You want to give us any updates? You've been all over doing a lot of work, and let's hear what's been going on.
Sure. It's been a busy summer of traveling here and there, but last week I was able to make it down to Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is probably one of my very favorite places ever. And we were able to bring together the National Council of Native American State Legislators. And there were, a room full of us that were there to talk about the issues that are affecting our own communities in our state. What were the things that we struggled within our state legislature, sometimes with our tribes. And it was just really, really great. I always feel so comfortable with these people because we understand each other and we can really commiserate. We don't have to explain ourselves all of the time around every little issue. Mm-hmm. And it was beautiful weather. We got up to the Pescatoli Pueblo. It was about an hour drive north of Santa Fe, up into the mountains, which were absolutely beautiful. And we went to see them. It's a small pueblo up there, self-sustaining in energy because they have these solar fields, which have really totally changed the trajectory of that little pueblo. They're 100% powered by their solar fields, and they are able to sell the excess, where before, they didn't have the security of electricity or internet or those sort of things. And because of that, they've been able to build up their infrastructure and create spaces for the youth. And what was really fascinating is how many jobs that they were able to create with these solar fields for their tribal members. And it wasn't just like the older folk generation that were able to get jobs there, but they have kids that are in high school, fresh out of high school, that are running the grid, that are doing the maintenance on these solar fields, that are learning, the whole process of how this all works. And it was really fascinating. I was so proud to be able to go up there and visit with them. So, wow. Yeah, energy was a big discussion. Data centers were a big discussion because a lot of these data centers are trying to get on or near Indian country because, if the state isn't communicating with the tribes and these data centers come in, there could be some really serious repercussions, especially around water use, because it needs so much water to cool down their machines. It emits this low level sound. We're hearing all kinds of things at the legislature about that. And of course, if the tribes aren't being conferred with, they are the last ones to know this is going to happen. And so many of them are making the local communities sign non-disclosure agreements, which is happening up in Hermantown. And then the community doesn't, there isn't transparency for the community either. So I think we're going to hear and see a lot more about data centers. But we talked a lot about missing and murdered Indigenous women again, and still that's always a huge issue. Oh, one thing that was really cool is in New Mexico, they have just funded no-cost childcare for the entire state.
Wow.
Yeah. So, birth through the age of 12, I believe, universal childcare, and we all, our jaws just kind of dropped, like, how did you do that? Yeah. Well, they have gas and minerals down there, and we're really smart about taking a chunk of money and putting it into a trust fund that was invested and has just been like generating billions of dollars for this.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
And Benny Shento, who is a longtime legislator down there, senator down there, he carried the bill and was able to really talk about it in fine detail, which was so cool. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating when we all get together and are able to share the good, the bad, and the ugly of Indian country across our nation.
Well, and I know people reach out to you all the time about the MMIR office, and we also have an African American office now too in Minnesota, which is totally amazing.
Yeah, and just like we were asking them, how did you do that? Folks were asking me how we were able to be so successful in it, and then to create that permanent office. And I shared our license plate, which they got really excited about. But just last night, I spent an hour on a Zoom call with the Daughters of the American Revolution out in the state of Virginia. They contacted me and wanted to learn about, the whole historic trauma around this and what they can do. So we're still, it's still a huge topic, and a topic that a lot of people really, really want to understand.
Oh, and too, we still have our Native brothers and sisters and Two Spirits still missing.
Yeah. And the office is, part of the mission of the office is to open up these cold cases and look at the data and the forensic information that they have. I think we do still have to continue to build on relationship building with a lot of the jurisdictions and state agencies. Data sharing is not quite where we want it to be. And they're not a one-stop shop for police and investigation. In fact, they don't have any policing authority around these issues, and so they still have to work with the local tribes, the local county sheriff's department, the Bureau of Investigation, all of those. So we haven't worked out all of the kinks, but hopefully over time, the relationships that are being built will be done in a way that is really sustainable.
Yeah, wow. And it's something always it was bipartisan too, the bill here in Minnesota. It took a few cycles, or maybe just one cycle, to get that office through, but I think people understand, especially when we talked earlier about people running for office, then we have representation, and a lot of your representation is educating people that don't know about the Native plight.
Right. You're absolutely right. And thank you for saying that. And I'll just take a plug out there for folks in Indian country, we need more representatives in our state government. I'm the only woman in the Senate, and I think I'm probably the only one that's really advocating for good things in Indian country as a Native person. I mean, our other legislators also carry a lot of really good legislation around health and human services, education. But, you know, a lot of times they come to me and I'm sort of the only one there. And then, of course, in the House, we have Leish Koslowski and Heather Keeler, and you're wearing Heather's shirt. So we know that Heather's going to be running for Congress, and it could be that, you know, that Representative Koslowski could be the only Native over there. At one time, we had 4 Native women, strong, intelligent, outspoken Native women in the Minnesota House, and we've lost 2 of them for sure. But now we might lose that 3rd one, and hopefully, knock on wood, we'll have another Native woman in the House. You know, please start thinking. It's never too late, never too soon to start thinking about running for office in your own community, but also at the state legislature. We need more voices. We need more champions. We need people with really lived experiences there to help us get through really good legislation for our Native communities.
You know, I like the lady that's running against, just came up, the Republican that's running against the governor. I got a bunch of phone calls, people thinking I lived in her district to run. So there's people out there that are reaching out to Native people to run. And I just think we should talk more about that. But that's a great thing that you brought up. We really need to recycle and bring more people in.
Well, East Side St. Paul, we have a large Native community. Kyle Lee Hurd is now going to be the mayor. We could fill that seat. There could be other openings in other spots over in St. Paul. So please think about running. And if you need to figure out how to do that, let us know, because we can get you on the right track.
Yeah, definitely. And people in Wisconsin too, as you know, Emerge Wisconsin. We have Arvina Martin on every week, and she's the CEO of Emerge Wisconsin. Reach out to her too. So they spoon feed you what you need to do, and there's so many different things, from fundraising to just a website and to graphics. Well, you know, Mary, but I'm letting our people know out there. So yeah, that's great. We need to bring that up every week. And matter of fact, I need to think about that again too. Who's out there? And I know some people out there, I won't say his name, Bob Blake, is thinking about running too. So get him back going. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we got one more segment with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us.
This holiday season, give gifts that matter and celebrate Native American Heritage Month. You can do just that at CauseCart, the online marketplace where every purchase makes a difference. CauseCart is proud to feature an incredible collection from Native American artists and makers. You can find unique, handcrafted jewelry, stunning art, and beautiful clothing. These items make wonderful, meaningful gifts for anyone on your list. You'll be gifting a one-of-a-kind handcrafted item that carries a powerful story of heritage and creativity. Instead of funding a giant corporation, your purchase supports local businesses and empowers their communities. Also, check out the Native Roots Radio Store right on the CauseCart site. Just visit cause-cart.com and type Native Roots Radio into the search bar to see the full assortment. This holiday season, make your spending a force for good. Support Native artists and shop with purpose. Visit cause-cart.com. That's cause-cart.com.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota private colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no 2 colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
November is Native American Heritage Month, a time to honor Indigenous history, art, and identity. At the Minneapolis Institute of Art, celebrate the contributions of Indigenous peoples across the Americas with programs and exhibitions that center around cultural resilience and deepen understanding through creative expression. MIA's month-long celebration includes free activities for the family, art making for adults, and a special showing of Smoke Signals, a story of friendship and healing. Celebrate, learn, and connect at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Find full details and ways to participate at artsmia.org.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and it's always great to talk to you end the week and start the weekend off in a good way. We were talking a little bit about people running for office and how important it is, and maybe you could tell your story, because I think it's a really unique story about you running. And well, I won't give any away, but do you mind telling a lot of our new listeners and also our other listeners about how it came about that you are, well, first representative and now state senator?
Well, sure. So I just finished my 5th year in the Minnesota Senate, and I had 4 years in the Minnesota House before that. And honestly, it did not really, it was not on my radar to become an elected legislator in Minnesota. But I was a teacher for 25 years and active in my union, and really saw what was going on at the, just the base of what it is to live like for my families that I was, the kids that I was teaching, and the issues around housing and food insecurity, violence, education, all of those things. But I was sort of active in my community. I was on the one of the committees, the Park Rec and Environmental Board here in the city that I live in. So I was a little bit active, but what really got me going was my daughter, who had graduated with a political science degree and decided to leave Chicago, where she was working as a community organizer, came back to work on a gubernatorial campaign. And it was just fascinating to kind of go through that whole process sort of vicariously with her. She moved back home and got right to business. And so I ended up meeting the folks that were, running, and, who's who and what's what in Minnesota. Every campaign needs volunteers to make phone calls, to lit drop, to knock doors, to feed the volunteers. And so she quickly brought me into all of that. And I learned, just by observation and participating, what it takes to run a campaign, but then also what the issues were across Minnesota, because they'd sent her out to talk about the candidate all over Minnesota. And it was January, February, and, it was snowy and cold out. And I said, well, I'll go with you just so you're not by yourself. And really fascinating and so interesting to meet all these different community leaders and community members. So I got more active in my own Senate district here in Minnesota. And when my senator decided to retire and my House member decided to run for her seat, they asked me to please run for the House seat. And so that was kind of the beginning of it. I know a lot of people will kind of balk when you say, you should run for office. You should think about it, because it's a really daunting thing to do. You put yourself out there, you put your family out there, you put your history out there. And most people will say, oh, no, not me. And too often, a lot of women are, they say it takes 7 to 9 suggestions to run for a woman before she finally runs.
I forgot about that. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And so I did. I ran, and I ran on environmental issues because that's important to me. I ran on education because that was really, really, really important to me. And my community chose me to be their representative and then their senator. But it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of organizing. But fortunately, there are a lot of groups out there that are just specifically to help candidates win the seats. And so there is help out there. You have to do a lot of it yourself, but there is a lot of help.
Well, you have an unbelievable backstory too, and I believe it really bodes to you and your empathy towards people and where they're at and meeting them where they're at, because you were brought up in a big family and a scarcity of resources in a lot of ways, and bringing up 3 kids, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh, well, I did have kind of a magical upbringing in that I'm number 9 of 13 kids. So there was always somebody to hang out with. And I always say we learned really early the value of working together for the common good, because if we got our chores done and we did them well and didn't upset our mother, we could just go out and play. I grew up in a little rural town right on the Mississippi River and the Wattab Creek. And it was kind of huck finish, we could just leave the house and wander for hours as long as we were home at lunchtime and dinner time. And then when the whistle blew at 9 o'clock at night. So, we didn't have a lot. I always had hand-me-downs. To this day, I really have a hard time paying full price for clothing or other items. So I do a lot of secondhand purchases. But, my dad was a city attorney, Stearns County attorney, and one time was director of something called Rural Crime and Justice in Minnesota. And he brought, his office home at night and informed us about what was going on. He was a Republican. He started the Republican caucus up there, which is sort of interesting. But he was a real humanitarian at heart. And I was, we received a really good grounding at a young age. But I think we all bring our life experiences to the work that we do. I'm thinking, when you mentioned that, I used to not be able to talk about it because I was very, very embarrassed and basically ashamed. But there was a period in my life where I was on public assistance. I was receiving food stamps and that small cash award that they give out, and then medical attention. I was a single mom going to school. My kids were young, and I was doing daycare in my home and going to school on the weekends to get my teaching degree. And it happened that I graduated in December of that year and had a job all lined up with Minneapolis Public Schools.
Cool.
Just had to get my license quick. But the government went on shutdown. Yeah, went on shutdown, and I couldn't apply for my license. And, after 3.5 months of student teaching full time, I ran out of money.
For free?
Yeah.
Student teaching is free.
Yeah, it is. And I had saved up as much as I could and thought I had enough to get me through till I got a job. But with that shutdown, that totally changed everything. And I ended up having to go apply for food stamps and the safety net that Minnesota provides to families, which is really, really important. And I do remember my dad saying that, those things are there for us when we need them, and not to be ashamed. And so those are the things that kind of propelled me into where I am today.
Wow, I really appreciate you telling your story. It's really important, and it's really important, because we all have our path, and we all travel, and look where we are. It doesn't matter where you're from; it's where you're at.
Yep. And the good
Wow.
work that you're going to do.
Exactly. Thank you so much, State Senator Mary Kunesh, for all these years of great conversation on Native Roots Radio.
Well, wopila to you too.
Right on. Hey, well,
This holiday season, give gifts that matter and celebrate Native American Heritage Month. You can do just that at Cause Cart, the online marketplace where every purchase